Welcome back to Making Video Your Business. Today I'm joined by my friend and client of many years, Simon Spooner. Simon, thanks so much for coming to see us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I've been excited about getting you on the podcast for a while. It's taken me till season 2 to get you here, even though you only live 20 miles away. Visuals and you have quite a long-standing history. We've done some stuff with you. You're in a completely different space now than you were when we first met you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that process when we first kind of got came into contact with each other, and where you find yourself now.
Yeah. So I think that's 5 years ago. I think we first met. You were doing a great video for me for the Stanford Mercury Awards. You came and did some great stuff, and we just got talking about the benefits of video. I was running a food business that was up for an award, and obviously with food, it's all about the visuals. It's all about actually showcasing what you can do. So we just got talking, didn't we, about, okay, this is a lovely video on your business, but what could we do to promote your business moving forward? And you guys, came up with a lot of really creative ideas to actually come in, do a whole business video, me talking about the business, but especially showcasing people eating the food, me plating up the food. And it was a real game changer, actually, to really, instead of just, a few photos on Instagram, show me plating stuff up, people enjoying the food, getting comments on the food. And that's really where it all began.
Yeah. From there, you've then gone on through that business. COVID had a massive impact on that, and then cost of living. You've stopped doing that now, and you've now gone back into recruitment, which is where you originally started your career with your partner.
Absolutely. So we've had a recruitment business for probably 8 years. During the food business time, I was very much a silent partner. And then when we decided to push the food business aside and really focus on recruitment, we realized we needed to ramp it up as a business and the marketing. And you've always drilled into me that video is so important.
It is important.
Absolutely. I've learned a lot from you. So we wanted to revamp our website. We wanted to revamp the way we market the business, and instantly thought, okay, we need some great video. We need some great content. And so I thought of you guys. So then once again, you guys came to us, and we did a multitude of things, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We did videos on us personally, videos about the business. We did some great content on frequently asked questions, on different parts of our business that we've used many, many times on LinkedIn. We send to people. Even yesterday, we were sending some of the content to individuals who are about to have an interview, because we created videos on interview tips and things like that.
Yeah.
And then all of our clients mainly are in London. So we went and did a great sort of on-site
Photo shoot.
photo shoot and a bit of video, which is brilliant. So
Position you where you are, where you're operating. Yeah,
exactly. So now our website went from, I guess, your standard page holder to something that's really interactive, that's got loads of video. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many videos are on it. Lots and lots of video. And then we've got this lovely library of content that we repurpose over time.
So let's go back then. Visuals had played a huge part in your life then, because you were on MasterChef.
Yeah.
And that process, that is what started your food journey, wasn't it? That was what encouraged you to think more seriously about operating a food business.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was an amazing journey. And what you realize very quickly is you've got an audience of people who are there. I think it's about 7.8 million people watch it, and they're watching you on video. They're watching what you do, how you interact, how you talk to people, what your food is. And suddenly people are very, very drawn to that, rather than it just being a Facebook page or these sorts of things. It's like, okay, I've seen this person, I understand what they're like, or people have an opinion of what they're like, what their food is like. They've heard commentary, critique, positive, negative, and that drew a huge number of people towards me. And then when I finished that journey, that gave me the opportunity to launch the business. But it was very much the medium of video and film that allowed me to launch things.
Do you think that process, obviously coming from a recruitment background, because that's how you started your career, right?
Yep.
Coming from a recruitment background, obviously, a national TV program where you've got judges, competitors, and then obviously big cameras, big rig, lighting, all that sort of stuff. Pretty daunting, no?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's watched the first time I was ever on MasterChef, I was terrible. It felt like I just walked into the TV because you walk in and the set is how it looks. You've got John and Greg to the left. You've walked through the doors that people walk in and out of, and you go to your bench. And it was a very strange realization of, okay, right, I'm here. Now we've got to actually do this. And so many people think, oh, it's heavily, heavily edited whilst you're filming. It's obviously edited afterwards,
Mm,
but they're like, oh, you stop, start here. It's like, no, you haven't. If they say you've got an hour, you've got an hour.
mm,
And you've got to think of things, you've got to cook, you've got to do great conversations. So you
mhm.
very quickly get used to what worked out very quickly was I need to do a very good interview very quickly, put my food aside because it's a TV show,
Yeah,
give them what they want,
yeah,
and then they leave you alone
yeah,
to actually focus on the food.
yeah. So you've got a better chance of getting further in the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What I mean, obviously, I operate with cameras all the time. The barriers people have to making content for their businesses revolve around that anxiety of getting in front of lens, getting in front of camera. You just basically went from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
What was the feeling then, I guess?
I think, to be honest with you, the cameras and the people were never an issue. I was never too concerned about that. It was always about, I put too much pressure on myself to create the perfect food
Yeah.
to start with, and I didn't relax and I didn't give myself the best opportunity.
The confidence levels from 0 to there, obviously you're gonna have to have really like gone, "Oh Christ, I've got to do this now," 'cause it's literally sink or swim, right?
Yeah. So I took myself away. I scraped through that first round. And Greg Wallace said to me the next day, it's like, you got through due to ambition. I was overly ambitious. And the person who I just scraped through past wasn't particularly ambitious,
Yeah,
which shows how badly I did.
yeah,
But then took myself to the hotel room. I was like, right, just calm down, just relax. This is what you enjoy doing. Enjoy the experience because tomorrow could be the last day you're there.
yeah,
And then suddenly, like the film crew were just saying to me, God, you seem like a completely different person today. I just relaxed. I was talking to them. I was having a laugh. When you start to realize what they want to see.
mm,
So you're like, all right, I'm just putting this in the oven. Do you want to come and have a look? I'm just pulling this out the oven, or I'm just doing this. Like you start working out in your head what's interesting content.
yeah,
So they're quickly getting all their snapshots whilst you're doing things
mm,
rather than coming in and saying, oh, I saw you do that 5 minutes ago. Can you redo that for me?
yeah,
And then of course you have to do it, but then that's taking your time up, because yes, it's all about how good your food is, but it's hugely about your
and your
content.
presence on screen and all that sort of stuff.
Absolutely, you're creating a TV show.
How do you think then, fast forwarding then to now with your recruitment business and all the content that you're now making, visually, how do you think that's helped you?
I think it just gives you that confidence just to say, well, it doesn't matter. I had hugely positive comments on social media, hugely negative comments on social media. Most of those people probably can't even remember doing those things,
Yeah,
positive or negative. And you just got to let it roll because people will just have an opinion. You put a video out there, some people will see it, some people will like it, some people won't. Most people, unless they've really got a problem with it, if they don't like it, they just won't say anything about it. It's also given me the ability to shoot a quick video and go, okay, fine, one take, bang, there we go. We
and not worry about it.
not worry. We did a lot of content recently. We cycled from London to Paris for charity, and we did a lot of like jump off the bike, quick bit of content, but you need to keep going. But it's like, right, okay, I've got 1 minute, quick shot. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. This is for how far we've gone. This is the cause we're doing it for.
How important do you think that balance is, I guess, between the corporate side of your business and the charitable side or the humanity side? Because I always say, like, you want to try and lean into the stuff that isn't selling your product and selling your business. How important do you think that is?
I think that's hugely important. We see with our engagement, um, all of the personal stuff that, the charity work we do, we plant a tree for every placement we make, all these things that people really engage with that stuff and they engage with us as people. So they want to see what else you're doing because that's the person you're buying from. We do have to balance that with the corporate stuff and really tapping into that. But from an engagement point of view, it's very much the personal brand that people buy into.
And that's what's building your audience and therefore that narrative of your business and driving people to you before they need you.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we have multiple examples of people coming to us who have been watching us for years, and we can't often remember them sometimes. So, okay, yes, fine, that's when we met, and they've been watching us, and suddenly like, bang, I need you now.
Yeah.
So let's talk. We're like, wow, where have you come from? Oh, I've been watching all your videos, I've been watching all your content. I really like that. Or we'll meet someone we haven't seen for a year. I loved all the stuff you did on your cycle ride. How was that? You didn't comment. You didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't know you saw it.
Yeah.
I followed everything.
Yeah. We call them snoopers.
Yeah.
And it's not derogatory. It's just that they don't want to make themselves known. They're just browsing through stuff and they see you and they catch it and they remember bits of information. What do you think um, the value is in video content for your industry now for recruitment? How do you feel video is being leveraged?
I think it's huge. There's always a place for the written form, but people like snapshots. People aren't sitting there on trains the whole time now. Actually, they've got an hour commute and what have you. Yes, we get people looking at stuff then, but those were the times where you could put out a longer form article and they'd sit there and read
Yeah.
it after scrolling through the news, doing their emails, these sorts of things. Now people want 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one, lady that does our marketing, she was telling us that 14 seconds is about the average that people hold on to a video.
Yeah.
And that depends on industries and what have you. But you think about that, 14 seconds
Yeah.
to
It's
keep
nothing,
someone's
is it?
attention. If you're writing something, what's that? Depends how fast you read. 3 sentences.
But that's why I think people leverage subtitling well.
Mm,
So they're reinforcing what they're saying with people reading it, so almost doubling up the word count.
yeah.
And also, if they're not using subtitles, they're using on-screen graphics that are saying different things whilst they're saying something else, or reinforcing points to try and embed that in there. So that's working really well for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. We caption everything because I think you told me something like 70% of video is watch
Without
silent.
sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you have to remember that one of the biggest things as well about subtitles is it makes your content inclusive. What would your tips be? What would your top 3 tips be for businesses who are thinking about their visual content, getting started, or moving things forward? What would your tips be for 2024?
Make the content. Commit to making the content, create a schedule. So we've got a whole spreadsheet that goes across the year, and we have a strategy. So we'll look at it monthly, quarterly. Right, this is what we're trying to achieve, and then we break that down into chunks. And that might be some corporate videos, that might be some blogs, that might be personal videos, and it's breaking it all down to make it more manageable.
Hmm.
Because if you look at it from a year and you go, right, I want to get from here to here, and you're not quite sure how that's going to be tangible from a return on investment in December 2024. It's okay, so I want to put out this content, I want to achieve this, I want to target this audience, and that would be my second point, which we'll go back to, and breaking it all down.
Yeah.
Point 2 is think about your audience.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? If you don't know that, then you're lost, to be honest with you. So actually spend the time thinking, who am I talking to and what am I trying to say to them?
And that leans into the right channels and also the right demographics and also what you say and how you say it. Yeah. Fantastic.
And I'd say point 3, utilize different forms of video. I'm a big fan of just grabbing your phone and doing that, and it's just a quick short snap. But the corporate stuff that we've done with you guys that looks all bells and whistles, that you can then put on your website, that can look really flashy, that you can pin onto your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, that really makes you stand out. A video done on your phone is useful and it gets content across, but it's probably not something you want to keep there forever.
Yeah.
It's just something that's a utilizable tool, but having the real flashy stuff, and also having someone asking you questions about your business and that person behind the camera. And that's going back to MasterChef. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll be talking to John and Greg. Sometimes you're talking to a producer, but nobody knows. It's just they've asked you a quick question because the producers come along because John and Greg are over there. It's like, what about this? What are you doing here? And it just gets you talking about it. But the way they edit that in is that it seems that either John and Greg have asked that question or you're talking about the next point around that piece.
Yeah. Editing's really key, I think. But yeah, no, there's some good points there. And they're things that I would 100% agree with. Strategy is really key. Audience demographic, really key. I think professional stuff is useful. Obviously, it's what we do for a living, but I'm an advocate of people just making stuff. Where I think businesses are successful with video content is where they leverage, as you are doing, some top end corporate looking glossy things, and then day to day behind the scenes on the go bits and
Yeah.
pieces. because it shows that you're investing in the right areas, but also prepared to put yourself out there and build personal brand and get in amongst it. I think that's why your business is doing so well. How do you think that's worked for you, and what do you think making content like that has done for your business?
It's done quite a few things. I think it changes people's perception of you.
Yeah.
People do have perceptions when they look at your website. They look at your corporate branding, and that was a big change. Yes, the world doesn't work that everyone goes to your website
No.
these days. It is very much on socials and what have you, and it's communicating with people. But to have that, it almost reinforces things. If you've been doing some business development and then people go and have a bit of a look around, they're like, oh, wow, okay, so that's here and that's here. It makes our life a lot easier having all that content. So we've got interview tips, CV tips, interview tips for people who are hosting the interviews. Lots of different points that we can just go, bang, here you go.
Yeah,
Here
just
you go.
use them outside of
Yeah.
just to email out to people.
Exactly. So instead of going, okay, so let's book in a Teams call for half an hour to talk through this, it's like, have a look at this. If you've got any questions, of course, pick up the phone. And then suddenly, if they do, it's a very targeted question, normally about a point that you've made that's specific to them. And you can answer that and they think, fantastic.
Yeah.
And then having that content. Sometimes you do have those days where like, crikey, the kids are sick at home. We've had that the last couple of weeks. We don't have time to make that video. We've got this going on. Okay, you know what? Let's go back into our library. We've got this great content here. Let's put that out. That sits within our strategy. It's not exactly what we plan to do today, but in a small business, you've got a plan for the unexpected, and you can go, that's something that's really quality that can go out there. So I think most of it is around perception of the business, and the feedback we get on our business and what we do. We've now started to utilize video in our interviewing.
Yeah.
So not just doing a Teams call and that sort of videoing, we're actually recording videos of individuals, asking them specific questions, and then sending that straight to the client. So no longer are they looking at a CV going, how do I tell whether what someone's done in their job makes them good for this?
Yeah.
It's actually looking at the individual, their characteristics, their values, their attributes. And then after 2 minutes, you can see that in a video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why people buy into it.
Could you say categorically that videos put money in your till?
Yes, definitely, because people have got jobs that their CVs would not have got them that job, because we've met them, we know the individual, we know the core skills and values that that person has to bring to a role, which are human elements that you cannot demonstrate in a CV, and then utilizing our trust with that client, plus then demonstrating that with a video, they've gone, okay, they're definitely worth an interview. And then they come out of their interview and go, yeah, you were right, that person's fantastic. But you look back at that CV and go, that would never have happened. So categorically utilizing it that way, absolutely. And then as we build our business, just having those little bits there, you can never quite, maybe more intelligent people than I can track that return on investment around the marketing. There's always those, as you say, snoopers who are there, who see these things, who are buying from you, but they don't really realize they're buying from you. And then when they need to push the button, they're like, okay, I need to solve this. Over there. Yeah.
Those guys.
Let's give them a call.
Mate, thanks so much for your time.
No, thank you.
I really
It's been
appreciate
awesome.
you coming to see us.